Okay, so the last video we talked about how to set up your Google Chrome. If you missed that, then go back in the playlist and take a look at that. This video is going to talk about where we store files in one neat and organized way so that you always have that one place to go back to. And I'm going to switch over so you can see the screen live as we do this. So I am in File Explorer, which everybody knows how to open. If you don't, I can't help you with that. So what I did is I started by just making a folder on my desktop just to do as an example. And then what we'll do is we'll go back and take another look at that here in a second. Okay, we've got that a little bit bigger, so you'll be able to see some of the folders that I set up. So I just went on my desktop just for the purposes of this. I wanted to show you how I set it up, and then I'll switch over and show you what mine looks like today. All right, so on my desktop, I just made a file called eXp Realty, a folder, let me be clear. And then these are some of the common things that I have set up on mine that are helpful. So attorney packets, so in there I have my Word document and my PDF files for my attorney packet cover sheets. That's something that I use, and I'll walk you through some of that as well. Checklists, labels I spelled wrong, and templates I have here, and that might be like a lot of my folders. I have labels on just like checklists on things to remember to do, some of the different steps. Marketing, that can be a little bit of everything. It could be like, say I send a letter to a property owner, maybe it's, something like that. And then properties, I have a folder. I actually call it listings on kind of mine, because it was usually just folders for like one for every one of my listings, so that when I get a copy of the deed, I'll scan it and put it in a folder for 123 Main Street, and a copy of the tax map and the tax bills, and anything that I may have that I want to save electronic, I'll put in there. But now I really use that for, if I have a buyer even, I'll have a folder for the property that they're buying. So that's why for this one that you see, I called it properties, because that's probably more appropriate. I just haven't changed the name of mine. Prospecting, under here, I'll have folders for expireds, for absent owners, or any files relating to prospecting. And later in the video series, I'm going to actually go cradle to grave from pulling the data, validating it, and putting it into letters that I do as mail out. So I'm going to show you that whole process, start to finish. Those will probably be some of the longer videos that you'll see in this in the course. But right now we're working under the get and stay organized phase, right? Referral agreements. So there are different companies that I have referral agreements with, that like Veterans United, and there's a handful of them. So I keep copies of those referral agreements right here, because any transaction I do with one of them, I have to upload that agreement into SkySlope, which is our transaction management software. And then anybody that if I have a listing and we have to pay out a commission, then we have to have a copy of that broker's W-9. So I just have one spot where I just put those. That way, if I have a transaction with them, I can just upload a copy. So this was just something that I did on my desktop just to show you. But let me show you where that actually is, okay? There's benefit of having it not on a computer, but having it on either part of your Google Drive, or I have a Hotmail account, so I also have OneDrive. Wherever it is you have online space is where you want to create that, because then I can pull up either the Drive app or the OneDrive app and access those files on my phone, on my iPad, anywhere else that I might be doing business, right? So let's take a look at, for mine, it's on my OneDrive. So here's my OneDrive, and then it's under Documents, and then eXp Realty is a folder here. And just so you know, I have that saved as a favorite over here on the side, so that's where it'll be. So these are files that I migrated with me when I changed brokerages, coming to eXp about 1.5 years ago. So absent owner is one of the ways that I prospect. Absent owner is actually one of the ones that I'm going to show you later in the course about how to pull some of that info. So in here are spreadsheets on where they are and just some of the raw data, and then it's also got some of the templates and then the full letters that I've mailed out to people. So that's what's in here under absent owners as part of my prospecting. Attorney packets. Here we go. Here is the Word document. There's the PDF that I send. I'll just pop open one of these old ones. Oh no, I hadn't better because it's got people's contact info. It's essentially a cover sheet that I use that has the name of the parties, their contact information, who are the attorneys, and all that. And then that's the first sheet of the transaction package when I send it to the attorney who's going to close the file. In New York State, attorneys close the files for us, not title companies. All right. So that's under attorney packets. CCBR is Clinton County Board of Realtor. So anything I have from them, I put in there. So just whatever files that may be. I was doing some of their graphics for events and stuff. Expired, this is another folder you could put under prospecting. So I hit expired listings pretty heavy. So I have a lot in here. I actually, I prospect them every Monday. Every Monday morning I do. So you'll see weekly expired commercial, home, and land. And then I have a mail log where I kind of keep track of them as well, right? So there's an example of one of the letters that I use for land. Here's a sample of home. So I even have in here the envelope that I'm going to use. That's everything that I need to do the mail out, right? Is right in there. And same thing with the land one or whatever. And then sometimes I'll do older expireds, like here I did one old deeds, any deeds that were like 20 years older. And that one said, I'm reaching out to homeowners who appear to have owned their home for more than 20 years and may have more equity in their home than they realized. So just sent that out. Hey, if you've thought of selling, give me a call. Let's talk. So that was where I did a bunch of those in July and August of last year. So that's the expired folder. Information flyers, that's a little bit of everything, but it's 7 tips for downsizing. Well, that's some of the raw information I would pull into, like downsizing, something by the numbers. This was something I had out on open houses a couple of years ago. Some of the statistics, information about downsizing your home, just things that I had with my branding information at the bottom. The Everything Guide to Selling Your Home. So this is just a file that any of that type of stuff, any of those fact sheets or anything that you wanted to do could be right there, okay? So this one is seniors real estate specialist, a designation that I have. I'm going to be going to a seniors-oriented event in a couple of months, so I'm starting to get my flyers together for that, and that's the folder where I'm doing that, under info flyers. Imagine that, right? And then labels and checklists. With EXP, there's here's a commission statement for sellers, one for buyers. We also have a record of real estate transaction that's done to verify the commission amount and the sales amount. So I have a copy of that here as well. And then I have folder checklists for buyers. So this one obviously is printed out on a 3x10 label. Buyers, next step email, attorney packet, and so when something closes, have I received the check? Have I updated Navicar MLS? Have I mailed the check to EXP? And then a reminder to do a social media post about the closed transaction as well. And for a listing, so here's one. And when I open this, this is just a preview view that you're seeing on the right. There's a little better. So that's pretty much what those would look like. And I actually print those on a shipping label. So where you see, but here's where I have my listing checklist, and it has lander residential .loop documents, and then check marks for the things I need, like the deed and the tax maps and the tax bills, the residential data sheet that has the measurements of the rooms and all the details. For a check mark for photos and videos, partial listing in the system, publish the listing, do the sky slope transaction, put a sign to the property, who's the attorney, social media posts for the new listing, copies of this listing stuff to the sellers, and even a sign from the property, and as well what the commission is on each side of the transaction. So that's kind of what I print out on shipping labels. Let me show you one. So here's my listing one. Just to give you an idea what's on there. And then when we go pending, I have another one that goes on here on the things that I do for a pending, right? So those are just some of the things that help me be efficient, because it's like, oh man, I forgot to do the social media post, or oh, I forgot to do the sky slope transaction, which is required within 48 hours of it being signed. So that's where you just want to be efficient and get it down to, let me do my checklist, make sure I got everything. So that's important. So I have all those here in one spot. I even have the envelopes that we mail the commission check to EXP. So I have those already ready, so I can open it, print it, put it in the file so it's ready to go. Just those little administrative things, labels and checklists, right? Quick and easy. Just to get an idea. So there's the deed, there's the copy of the commission check, there's something about the Adirondack Park, copy of a map, a couple other, those are probably the listing pictures for a land listing. Yep, sure enough. The tax bills, the tax map, so all the stuff associated with it. Again, everything's in one file, so that when I need to upload those into a new listing, then I know right where I'm pulling them from because I put them all in a file, right?